All right, everybody, we are here live at Podcast Place here in the beautiful city of Long Beach. It's our premiere show here at Podcast Place. It's going to be slamming. We've been working on it for a long time. I'm your host, Favi Chulo. Don't forget, you can check me out at all social media aspects at Favi Chulo on all social media. And sitting directamente to my left, the man who is the owner and proprietor of the Pacific Wrestling Alliance, the man himself, Michael Parks. Mike, little round of applause for Michael Parks, everybody.
Hercules. What's going on, everybody?
Real quick, before we get into our guest and who we got sitting over here, talk a little bit about what it took to get us here. Man. Oh, before you do that, too, you got to let the people know Solomon Grondi is with us, too.
First of all, everybody, welcome back. We've been off for what, a month and a half?
About a month and a half.
About a month and a half. And we wanted to do something different, pretty much start doing things big.
Right.
And how do you do things big? By getting a podcast, doing a podcast studio.
Yeah.
And we got the man himself, producer extraordinaire, Solomon in the back.
Oh, boy. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
But, it's good to have him, here with us on the podcast because, I don't know, I'm Mexican. I don't know if you could tell or not. And when it comes to things like that, social media and stuff, I am illiterate. And I don't know what's more than illiterate, but that's me. So now we have a vehicle that we can actually be professional. But
Exactly.
Now sitting on my left, let me tell you something. When we said we're going to go live, we're going to be a podcast place there. Everybody's like, oh, dude, I want to come on. I want to check it out. It's going to be slamming and all that. All right, but can you be there at 7? Can we make it on a Sunday at 3:00 in the morning? Things of that nature. So sitting right here on my left, as soon as we gave him a call, we're going to have Blake Troop come on and talk a little bit. And he's like, hey, bro, I got to get Rage NG on there, man. He goes, this dude knows what he's talking about. He goes, he's been training me. That's why I am the lights out heavyweight champion. So sitting right here to my left, the man himself, Rage NG. Rage, how are you, my friend?
I'm awesome. It's great to be here. Last name's pronounced Ing, so I'm Raging.
You know
Beijing.
what? Rage. You see?
I like that.
You see how that works? Rage NG. But we're going to talk a little bit about some mixed martial arts. We're going to talk a little bit about training and things of that nature because MMA has come so far. It's went a different direction. For the people that are listening to us on this podcast, the main show was outside while we were waiting to come in. Because we met Rage out there and we talked a lot about stuff that we can talk about and some stuff that we can't talk about.
Exactly.
So we're gonna get into it now. I got to tell you, we're talking outside, talking a little bit about mixed martial arts and judging and stuff like that. So I was telling Rage how I was able to procure the spot for Lights Out to do the announcing, and luckily for me, all the stars were in line, and it was when Blake Troop was going to go ahead and fight for the Lights Out Heavyweight Championship. So when we talked, he's like, bro, man, I appreciate everything you did for me. And everything went great. And I was so happy that I won the belt. Got to get Rage on there because since I've moved camps and started training with him, I went 5-1. So real quick, before we get into talking a little bit more about mixed martial arts, talk a little bit about that. I mean, he really, for the people who didn't get to see that fight, Mike, I know you did, you got to see it on video. He was in the first round. He was standing up, and it was a big Samoan dude that he was fighting, a big Samoano, and it seemed like the first round, kind of feeling each other out. He took a few shots. In the second round, he hit that 1-2 combo, boom, shot in, double leg, and it was over. So real quick for the people listening, talk a little bit about that. What was the strategy, going into that fight? Because it was for the belt, and it's, you talk about Lights Out Championship. That's Sean Marion. That's a big company,
Right.
Yeah. Interestingly, we watched tape on the opponent, and he is aggressive with big power. And so he pressures in, he comes in, and he throws power. And the first round, he didn't do that. Right? Because, Troop is a big dude, and he's got hands and outstanding grappler. So they clearly watched tape.
Yeah.
Also, and made the adjustments. And so the first round was, like you guys said, a bit of a feeling out. And now we have my fight system. It's called EYR, EYR, Engage Your Rage. And one of the cornerstones of ire is what we call the one bell mindset.
Yeah.
So it's not as insane as it sounds, but the idea is you don't get paid overtime for extra rounds.
Right.
Get it done.
Get it done. Finish the fight. One bell, and then you finish your opponent before there's another bell. Now, that doesn't mean we knock out everybody in the first round, but we fight with the intention to finish the fight every round, right? So it's one bell, and then if there's another round, it's one bell. You go, you finish your fight, you finish your opponent. So I actually get a little annoyed if I actually have to corner, which sounds like, I'm a dick.
Right.
And I am. But if I go in after the bell, that means you didn't get your job done. So anyway, I'm cornering, I'm going in. I truly was not expecting to have to corner.
Let him know that. Yeah.
I was expecting it to be done in the first round, especially knowing who our opponent was, right? Somebody's going to sleep. So it didn't go that way. But then on the fly, we made adjustments and it's okay. He's not pressuring you. Just run him over. Go get him.
Yeah. Because when he hit him with that, I don't know if you saw it, Mike, when he hit him with that right hand, you see him go back. And as soon as he went back, boom, he shot that blast double, had him on the ground, and it was over.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, what was going through your head when that round ended and he's walking back to the corner? Are you like, damn? No.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, I was happy, right?
Okay.
I was happy because now it's like, oh, it's not what we prepared for.
Right.
But in a sense, it was actually a little bit easier than what we prepared for. Because you're not gonna lead the dance. You're gonna let us lead it. That's where we shine, and that's what happened. And Troop's hands, like one of my pro boxers that I worked with, he was a heavyweight. He was ranked in the top 10 in the world. His name's Joe Hanks, and he has a gym, Brick City Boxing, in Pasadena.
Yeah.
And so Troop was working with Joe, sparring with Joe.
Ooh.
And so, like you said, that right hand landed.
Oh, yeah. It's a big difference when you sit, because after I do my announcements, I have a nice spot right there on the side. It's a big difference when you're sitting right up on that cage than when you're sitting in the crowd, especially when they hit with those liver shots.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you can hear, it takes a second for it to kick in, and then boom, they just go down. So when you're getting hit by somebody like Blake Troop, that, they're going to feel that punch. But not only that, it was the first time ever that he came in and did commentary. He did commentary for the first 5 fights, went back to the dressing room, got dressed and got set and everything, and then he ended up going out there and fighting. Now, talk about that a little bit, because it seems like if you're going to fight, especially for a belt, that was a big, like I said, that's Sean Marion's Lights Out. That's a big organization. It seems like you would have to have your mindset. I got to get here at this time, and I want to prepare. I'm going to stretch out and everything. So is that the first time you ever had a fighter do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
how were you feeling? Like,
yeah, I was going to say, it was like, bro, we're waiting for you.
Yeah, what
all
are you doing?
So I don't know if you guys, I don't know profanity if we're, okay. So you can't dick ride your friends.
Yeah.
Right? Well, then you definitely can't dick ride your fighter. But Troop is something special.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he's on a different level.
I mean, he really is. He athletically, 6'4". This was his first fight at heavyweight. He's been doing the professional wrestling. He blows it out of the water with the promotions and the ticket sales, and he's literally a genius. Literally a genius IQ. I'm pretty smart and I'm have a bit of an education, but we'll have conversations, or we'll be in the middle of training and he'll make a connection, and I'm just like, damn, I'm fucking stupid. Yeah. Anyway, so he likes those type of challenges, right? And he's like, I'm going to get the belt, and then, I want to come off. He was just, I want to come off the announcing table, and I want to, and the way we warm up, because MMA is, it's still kind of young,
Yeah.
right? It's been around 25, 30 years. But sometimes you don't get the dressing room or the corner that you should. There was a big promotion in LA, and they had like the main events, and it was put on by a boxing promoter. So they had like the main event, and they had like these huge dressing rooms, and then they put everyone else literally on the loading docks, right?
That sounds like independent pro wrestling show.
Yes.
Oh God, right? Got nothing on you guys, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, the point that I'm making is that you don't always get the room that you need. You don't necessarily have the equipment or the space. They put out a little sleeping mat and say,
Yeah.
okay, here's your mat to warm up on. Okay,
And
cool.
it's
What?
one, when I was working up next a couple of weeks ago, it was one mat for about, well, there was 12 fights. So 6 guys plus their corners and plus the guys they bring to roll with them or whatever, get them ready. And it was, like you said, our room that we were working in, no air conditioning. Okay. So dude, the BO and the farts in that room. I mean, they were, and Jessica was working with me.
So wait a minute. So you guys are in a locker room of 6 with 5 other fighters.
But let me
Go ahead.
Let me be clear. There are phenomenal promotions in Los Angeles or in Southern California.
Right.
So that is not like lights out.
Yeah. That's a
the
top-notch organization.
Yeah, it's outstanding. Up next, LFA. There are just phenomenal promotions. So that's not what I'm talking about. But we have experience with other promotions, and you don't always get the space that you need. You don't always get right. So the warm-up needs to be flexible, and you very often you'll get bumped around on the card. So it's like, oh no, you're number 3 now. Oh, you're up next.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't get to have this whole big elaborate warm up and right. So it's like, all right. So what's the difference if he's coming off the announcer table and we have a short time to warm up? And what was really cool, like I said, he's cerebral, right? And so it put him in an analytic mindset. It put him in a mindset because he's analyzing and watching the other fight. So it started putting him in the right headspace.
Yeah, it was already there.
And then when we wrap hands, the
starts kicking in.
Yeah. And
especially for somebody like him. He seems very calm, cool, collected. But now that we're here, at Podcast Place here in Long Beach, I know Solomon is kind of new to the game or whatever. I don't know how much knowledge he has. But Mike, maybe since we have him here, and Blake Troop will be here, he's going to come down here and be live with us. Maybe we can have Solomon take a leg kick.
See,
wait.
He's got to pay the dues, right? I mean,
no. We're not doing all of that.
Because you want it. Well, speaking of mindset, we want him to know and feel exactly
we can't get
what
him choked out.
Yeah, or something like that. But we talk a lot about that, and it was funny because we were talking before we came in about certain things. So there's a lot of stuff that I want to run by you, okay? Since we have somebody who actually knows what he's talking about and's been there and all that. So talk a little bit before we get into that.
Yeah.
So did Blake come? Because he said, hey, I'm talking to him, and he goes, bro, I started working with him and with Rage, and I ended up going 5-1, and it was. So did Blake approach you and say, hey man, I need some help, or did you see him and go, look man, I think if we do this, we can really go somewhere?
So again, he is tactical, super intelligent, and because of where he came from, very cautious.
Yeah.
So he and I met at South Bay Jiu-Jitsu, I don't know, maybe 2010 or 11. And when he first met me, he did not like me. No, and now okay. Because the first thing he was fighting middleweight,
Right.
So 6'4", and he's cutting to
middleweight.
He's actually fought at welterweight one time, and so exactly, and so
To cut to 175?
170.
Oh, what's
Dude, what?
Yeah.
So were you the one that said, "Look, man, let's go up a few weights"? Or
Well, the first thing I said to him, I said, "What are you doing at middleweight? You're light heavy. What are you doing?" And he didn't know who I was, and he's like, "Fuck you, dude."
Yeah,
like
who you
so, our initial meeting wasn't great, but then he and I were Facebook friends, and I would post scientific strength and conditioning type stuff, and he out of the corner. Yeah, now he went to school for exercise science.
Yeah.
So he was like, check, okay, he knows what he's talking. And so then in 2016, he fought Moses at middleweight, and he asked me to be in his corner. And so I was in his corner, but I was not his head coach. I wasn't coaching him at all. I was just in his corner. And then after the fight, I sat down with him, and we went almost frame by frame through that fight, because in that fight, he in the first round had the opponent against the cage and was like, punch him in the face. And then he did that thing where he stops and looks at the ref.
Yeah.
Like, hey, ref, stop it. And I'm like, no, you got to scare the ref into saving this dude's life. You don't ever. So, and then, I was like, okay, so we lost 15 seconds there. And then we went through, and then, so he had almost won in the first round, almost had a TKO finish. And then as it went on, towards the end of the second round, he got caught in a triangle choke, got elbowed and split open.
Yeah.
And so it was
vicious, man.
it was a great fight. However, came up on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Right.
So I sat down and we went over it step by step by step. And that's when he said, I want to work with you.
So you brought something to the table that he actually needed.
Yeah. And he calls us knuckle dragging scholars.
Well, he's
I like that.
he's gonna be here. He's gonna be in studio, so we could. I mean, after he does the kick on Solomon or chokes him out or whatever. Well, we can't get him choked out because then he ain't gonna have nobody run the equipment.
Yeah.
So but I think he could still do it with the.
No, you guys first. I want to see you do it first.
Mike as the
you guys can teach.
Well, Mike as the owner and proprietor of
the one that's running his mouth is the one that's gonna take it.
Dude, I'm an old man.
So
some of the worst injuries that I've had recently were warming up troop.
Oh yeah.
Because we do a lot with the mental conditioning and the zone, getting into the zone, and when you're in the zone for fighting, it's we're not passing a ball around. We're not,
Oh yeah.
It's a different zone, and he has cracked me a couple times. Like one of his fights for LFA dislocated my rib. Another fight just clipped me across the chin, and then fortunately he went out there and just mauled his opponent and kind of played with his food a little bit, and was he had him flattened out, and he was just like seeing how many times he can hit him without the ref stopping it. And so he had that, but I was literally in a concussion in the corner. So I was just like, and so he goes to the doctor, and I'm just kind of, and he's like, we got to go to the doctor, coach. Let's go. And I'm like, oh shit. Oh. So anyway, no, I don't recommend getting leg kicked.
Well, that's why I was volunteering other people.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I ain't
Thank
no
you.
fool or whatever. But you know, and I'm gonna pose this question to Mike, and then we could give it to our guest here, who's Rage. I'm saying Rage
Raging.
NG, and it's Rage Eng.
Raging.
So get it right. You know, it's such a small window that you have, even in pro wrestling. You know, it's because it's a young man's sport.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So do you give Blake? Do you say, hey, look, man, you're a beast, okay, but we all get old. So you got some. Now you're the lights out, you know, heavyweight champion. So let's concentrate on this and put wrestling on the back burner. Or you don't tell him, you say, look, man, this is what you want. You're good enough to do it. You just go ahead and do it. Mike, I honestly, and this is just me, you know, he's a beast, man. I mean, the way he took out the Samoano at lights out was just amazing.
Right.
But he's also a good pro wrestler, and he's got that it factor. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to draw people. He's just got that charisma about him that you can't teach. So you think for him it's cool to do both for now, or you think he should concentrate on just one?
Man, he's a machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm not thoroughly convinced. I mean, until I see it in person with Solomon or something, I gotta see it in person.
he's got this thing, Solomon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's got this thing
Yeah.
about you
But you know, we
being
talked to
a crash test dummy.
Yeah, but we talked to Solomon. We might as well throw him right into the deep end, right?
You didn't put no kind of things on his arms like the old days.
Yeah. So you think for right now it's
now-
okay. Just do what you're doing and just keep progressing. You think the wrestling's always going to be there, or
Ride it till the wheels fall off.
yeah?
You know what I mean?
So
And it's because at some point in time, Father Time's gonna tell you one of them's got to go.
right.
You know what I mean? It's just we can't beat Father Time.
You know,
So
he's-
Yeah,
and he's
there's
got
two
commentary.
undefeated fighters.
yes,
He's got
Father Time,
commentary
Mother
on that.
Nature. That's-
exactly.
That's
So it's like
And he's got commentary on the back burner too. So
Yeah,
it's
so
not like
he's-
he doesn't have anything to fall back on.
he's gonna know when I got to stop doing this because I can't go and train 6 weeks for a fight and then I'm having to travel
Yeah.
because I'm wrestling for the NWA.
Yeah.
I'm having to travel here and here and here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At some point in time, even machines start to break down.
Yeah. Well,
So he's going. He's going.
it remains to be seen.
So
I mean, for now,
for right now, kill
and
it.
for the people listening to us here on the podcast, it's different when you see him in person. TV does that dude no justice. You know what I mean? So that was like, because I got to go see it from the weigh-ins, the production meeting, to the production meeting for commentary, then to the announcing, and then to the fight. I mean, it's a whole stuff that you got to go through, and no problem.
Right.
I mean, he comes to the weigh-in with this big old dog, you know, like he's going to a house party or something. It just seems like it doesn't faze him. But anyways, real quick for the people listeners, we're here. We're at Podcast Place. We got Solomon Grandi taking care of us over here. We got our man. I don't know why I keep saying Rage. My mindset wants to tell me Rage NG, but Rage Eng.
yes,
And of course, Michael Parks over here. And we're talking a little bit about Blake Troop. And you know, we're going to get him in here, Solomon. Don't worry. I know he's going, well, we got to get him in here. I got to see for myself. But I want to talk, since we have him here, I want to talk a little bit. And I've been wanting to talk to you about this too. And now that we have somebody in the studio that we could talk to, here's what I want to pose to you. I don't like Bruce Buffer. I think, you know, the way he announces and the things that he does, I think it's too much, you know? So I caught a lot of grief. I catch a lot of grief of it on my social media because I feel you should be more professional. Okay. So here's what it is. Well, first of all, they called me on it. They said, well, look, if Dana called you tomorrow and said, hey, look, man, Bruce is down. I can't find a bus. I need you to come. Can you be screaming and hollering? For that amount of money, I'll probably go ahead and do it. But here's the thing. I put that out on my social media. I try as much as I can to make it about the fighters because I don't have to cut any weight. I don't have to take a punch. You know what I mean? I don't have to battle an injury to get in that cage and make an announcement. I think a lot of these people don't see what these fighters go through. So I try my hardest to make it. For me, I feel it's not right for me to try to make it about myself because you see him warming up and, you know, but it must be something because everybody likes it. But go ahead, Mike.
tell what did they say? What did they tell you at Lights Out?
So when I got the gig at Lights Out, I'm trying to be as professional as I can, just trying to, and I want to make sure, I announce it to sponsors, and just try to be as professional as possible. So we're talking about a professional organization. I have an earpiece and they're in the truck or whatever. So I make a few announcements and stuff. And then in my ear, I hear, Sean wants you to bring it up. Sean wants you to kick it up about 3 or 4 notches or whatever. And I'm like, dang. So I had to kick it up, a few notches or whatever. But when I talked to Sean after the show, I said, "Hey man, I'm sorry if I said I bumped." He said, "No." He goes, "You were doing fine." He said, "But I didn't have the house that I thought I was. So when we're on TV, I want you to bump it up so that people know what's happening and they want to come down and check it out." So from that perspective, I kind of get it. But you kind of get what I'm saying. Let's take it around the horn. Mike and I go back and forth.
But you got to remember, every announcer has a different their way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the guy that does, used to do Showtime Boxing? Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
True professional.
If you go back to his father, because I remember watching his dad when he was a ring announcer at the Olympic, and how his dad used to announce. He started sounding like his dad a whole lot. If you close your eyes.
Oh, yeah. It's in the genes.
Yeah. And then when he got to Showtime and he got his own flash, phrase, it's showtime, and the lights and everything. So he got his own thing. Michael Buffer, I just watched the fights from Saudi Arabia Saturday.
Let's get ready to rumble.
He's, 70?
Yeah.
Still, golden voice.
And that's his saying.
His brother.
That's what they recognize him by.
His brother.
But
hypes up the crowd.
Yeah.
By, it's like a motorcycle. And now, just by that, you start getting goosebumps because something's about to happen.
Yeah.
And that's his job. He's like every rapper's hype man.
But let's
you know what I mean? It's like, hey, man.
Let's take it to our guest. I mean, you kind of get what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
mean, I've seen it. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, and I see the punishment that they take. So I'm like, man, I feel bad trying to bring it to myself because I'm not cutting no weight or whatever. But you kind of get what I'm saying. What do you?
Absolutely. And so I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little lame on this subject because I really haven't given it as much thought clearly as right. And I hear both sides, and I agree with both. Right. What you're saying is absolutely true. Right. Don't take away from the fighter. They're the ones that, and fighters go through so much. Yeah. And like normal people try and cut weight. Try it. You can't do it. Try and lose 10, 15 pounds by dehydration in a 24-hour period. You try and do that. You can't.
Sucking on ice cubes.
Yeah.
Spitting it out.
Yeah.
So absolutely, that's a valid point. And then being the entertainment, the hype man, and my position on it is it's something that I really haven't thought about because it's not at all relevant to what I do.
Yeah, you're tuned into something totally different.
Totally different, right?
Yeah.
I take the dog off the leash.
And let him
go.
Your focus isn't.
But both. Little tidbit about me. I'm married to 2 women. We're in a threesome and a throuple. But both my wives were professional dancers, ballerina, contortionist. They watch MMA because of me. But every time we watch the UFC, both of them go, and now.
See?
Right?
See?
So that's when I was like, oh, okay. That's
because
and the money, forgive the term, but the money's in the casuals. Our rent, to everything, it is paid by the casuals.
Right.
Diehard fans are broke.
True.
Fighters are broke. Coaches are broke. The money's in the casual. So the more entertaining, the more spectacular, right?
Right.
The more it's going to attract the wandering eye.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many parties we went to. Okay. And it's a UFC party and we're at somebody invites us and we're at a watch party and nobody's watching. They're all drinking and they're all doing, the party stuff.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there going, I actually work with people in the U.S. No, no, that's actually a friend of mine. No. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
You guys are lame. But anyway.
Yeah, I get it. And I get what he's saying, but it just because I've been doing it for so long, that's what makes me, kind of bring that out. Now, one more thing, because I know you want to get to some wrestling, right?
But wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Every announcer has to have a gimmick, just like a pro wrestler.
Man, you know what my gimmick is? A seer suit with the Hager double knits and the bell bottoms.
And the bell bottoms.
That makes me stick out.
With the butterfly collar.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That'll be my gimmick.
That is you.
Well, okay. Well, since Solomon you guys don't want him to take a kick, maybe we can have him cut some weight. Let's see if he can do 20 pounds in like a 24-hour period. See, that's a little bit easier than taking the kick from Blake Troop. I'm telling you,
Well,
that's the better option.
Yeah, you stick with us. You stick with us. You're gonna be doing quite a bit.
Solomon, you ever watch MMA?
Every now and then.
Okay, so I guess now your homework will be to watch the announcers
Okay.
And see what we're talking about.
See what we're talking about, and see the reaction that the announcers get, and how their job is really to push the show and to hype the fights.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
I mean, you can have somebody out there and
Well, I don't do that.
coming
If you
coming
could,
down the aisle.
I'll send you some of my stuff, Solomon. You can see.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, we're trying to make it professional.
They're
because
an unsung hero in that aspect of it.
Well,
Right? Because if you're bad, everyone knows it.
yeah,
But if you're good, you're just supposed to be.
yeah,
Right.
And you're that cog in the engine
Yes.
that helps the entire show. So people will come see you,
right,
but because they're there to see you, they're there to see the fights.
right,
Butts and seats, money.
right.
So it you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about, but it's like how Rage was talking about how UFC mixed martial arts in general is still in its infancy stage.
Yes.
It's getting towards adulthood because people for many years thought they're just a bunch of animals that are in there fighting. Now you see it's structured. You have weight classes. So we're trying to bring more professionalism to it to take it as serious. And we talked about this too. Mike and I talked about this too. You see football, they're in a coat and tie. Everybody's nice and professional. That's the way I think it should be for mixed martial arts. Everybody professional, everybody in a coat and tie. Then the people take it more seriously. So that's one aspect. The other thing, since I got you here, and what I wanted to talk about is this is another thing I've always had a problem with. And we'll take it around the horn again too. We can even take it to Solomon because I think he'll even have an opinion on this. I announced the fights, right? I've seen people just get wrecked and just knocked out and both eyes are bloody and they don't even know where they're at and or whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, we know who won. There is no need for him to be bloodied and can barely walk to stand, in the middle of the cage so the other guy can get his hand raised. Doesn't make any sense. Now, if it's a decision, that's a whole different ball game. Yeah. So I'm like, I think he's okay. I go ahead and leave him on the stool. Let's just go ahead and announce it. Nope, get him up, put him up. And he's just standing there, just a bloody mess. So give me your thoughts on that. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with them just staying on the stool, making sure he's okay while they announce the winner.
You're bringing up you're broaching these subjects that I never thought about.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Because that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right. But what you're saying is absolutely the way it should be.
Right.
Right. Like everyone, I guess, like they say, put a sticker on the kids' homework so that they have a sense of closure. Right. So, you have the routine and now we know the fight's over. And then we do this little ritual of raising the hand and that's how it's done. But from a fighter's safety perspective, right? You got knocked out, you got choked out, you got finished.
Yeah.
We know who won, right? So it's a formality to have the hands raised and to have both fighters standing and then raising. It should be for a split decision. Or
decision. That's
right?
or a close fight, even though he's a little beat up. We don't know who's going to win this fight.
All right. So I'll send the email and we'll get that taken care of.
I can see Mike. You can see him. I can see the Solomon. I can see the wheels spinning on this guy.
I'll tell you what. You know what? The honest to God, you know what sucks? That's not your decision to make.
Right. It's definitely not.
Even you know what I'm saying.
But I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I'm like, let's go and leave Martin Steele. Nope.
But that's not. You want to keep working?
Yeah. Oh no.
You have to.
If they tell me,
however it is that we want this done.
But MMA, again, because it's so young, does make changes, and it does evolve.
Yeah,
right?
It's a different breed.
It used to be common to interview both fighters. After the fight, and it's like, through experience, we learn. Hey, you know what's a really bad idea? Interviewing somebody that has a concussion was just knocked out. But maybe we don't interview the.
No, he's good. Let him go get.
I've seen many of fights that the guy that had been knocked out is still sitting on the mat while they're doing the interview with the winner.
Yeah,
surrounded by doctors and his family and you know his management team.
Right.
So I've seen that happen.
Oh yeah.
So that's probably happening more often than not. But the topic that was brought up was you taking it upon yourself because you see that fighter in that condition saying, "Oh, leave him on the stool." The compassion that you have is
I'm just making a what's it called? A recommendation. I have no say so because I feel bad for him. I'm right there. Yeah. I've seen teeth fly. You know, I've heard bones get snapped. And the worst, and I'll be honest, the worst is the girls' fights. You know what I mean? Because I have daughters and I see these girls taking punishment. And then they're going, well, I'm a little dazed. And the trainer's going, no, you're fine. Let's get you back out there. What I'm like, well, it's very hard for me to see it. That's my job. I got to announce it. I got to make sure, that I get everything right. But it's just, as a person, it's kind of hard to see somebody take that much punishment. Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, you got in there and fought. Now, it takes a lot of guts, okay? And I'm right, as we're here at Podcast Place in Long Beach, for two people to get in that cage with 4-ounce gloves and start swinging. So I have respect for anybody who does that.
Take a shot and smile
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, why don't we get an unbiased opinion? We'll ask Solomon. Solomon, am I wrong? I get it. You can make the announcement or whatever, but I don't think it's imperative that we have that fighter get up that's all bloodied up because we already know who's going to win. You think it's just a source of embarrassment?
Well, I look at it from a marketing perspective, okay?
Yeah.
And I think, especially with a young sport like that, you need to start to establish some traditions. And I think that tradition goes way back.
Right.
So from my perspective, if the person is able to get up and be part of that ritual, they should be part of that ritual.
Yeah.
Now think about all the other aspects of it. What if they don't do it? Now you get this thing where a fighter's feeling like, oh man, I whooped him so bad that he couldn't even get up and be part of the thing. Or, people say, man, we couldn't have the photo ops of, the look of defeat because the guy wasn't there. So, I think that's one of the things where, it needs to continue. That's what I think.
You know what? See, this is okay. You know what? You don't have to cut the weight, Solomon. You know what, man? That was a good because I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
You're in the clear on that. But anyways, Mike, are we going 60 or 90 minutes? What do we got? Solomon, how long are we going?
You're going 60.
60. Right. Okay, so we only got 20 minutes left. I know you want to get your pro wrestling in, so can you stay with us for pro wrestling segment? So, well, first of all, okay, before we get into that, one, just since I got him here, I just want to ask real quick. They made the fight with Patty Pimblett against Michael Chandler.
Yes, we got to talk about this.
It was my daughter that came and told me. And when I said, man, if Patty Pimblett can get past Michael Chandler, I'm going to be a believer. That to me is going to solidify him as a big time fighter. I don't think he can get past Michael Chandler, but we'll see what happens. So can we take that around the horn real quick before we go to wrestling?
Yeah,
I'm going to say Michael Chandler is going to destroy him. But then again, if Patty Pimblett can beat Michael Chandler, I will say, hey man, that's a legit fighter.
We spoke on it last night.
Oh yeah.
And again, Chandler's a machine.
Yeah.
He is a flat out beast.
Yeah.
Patty, And I don't mean that in a disrespectful
No,
way.
it's
just this is
two different people.
not
It's
just
really
not just two different people. This is not a step. This is a jump.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, a huge.
That's
jump.
a big step up for that
Yeah,
kid.
man.
Well,
And-
what do you? Let's take it to our guest. What do you think?
When I found out that fight was made, I was surprised because it does seem like too much for Patty. But knowing how the machine works, they started Patty's career with favorable matchups.
Mhm.
We're trying to manufacture this star. We're trying to make another UK fighter and bring in that fan base. And
Damn.
so they did that, and then he didn't actually ultimately deliver.
Right.
He didn't win when it mattered, or he got a decision that everyone knew he shouldn't have got. It's
Right.
like, oh, that was a bit of a Robbie. So, so now they're like, okay,
Yeah.
now we're just going to make money. And we're just going to make money, and the kid gloves are off, and it's big boy time now.
Well, speaking of Solomon, marketing aspect, I'm sold. I'm gonna buy that pay-per-view because I want to see what happens in that fight. So
Absolutely.
that was
Absolutely.
a smart move.
Yes.
So I mean, you can never count. I've counted Patty Pimblett out a couple of times, but just
Right.
which is wrong of me, just by the way he looks
Yep.
or whatever.
Yep.
And he's delivered quite a bit. He surprised me.
Right.
Mhm.
But you're going to a different level here,
sir.
man. So I don't think he can get past him. But of course, you're not going to count anybody out. So you think he can beat Michael Chandler, Michael Parks?
So just to
Put him
be an
on.
advocate, devil's advocate on the other side here, Chandler, how old is he now? He's getting up there in
Yeah,
age.
he's almost
right?
40.
And then if you look at his record in the UFC, right? He always lands on his feet and he always gets the next big thing. But it's I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head, but he's had more losses than wins.
Right.
Right now, some phenomenal fights, but still he came up on the wrong side of the decision
Right.
in those wars. So when it comes to MMA, the one stat that makes the biggest difference as like, oh, reach in boxing and kickboxing makes a difference. Like, oh, the fighter with the longer reach has an advantage.
Yeah.
That's not true in MMA. We like to think it is, but it's not, because the reach is very often stifled or offset by grappling.
Yeah.
But the one thing that statistically significant is the age. The younger fighter wins 60-something% of the time.
We talked about that too. That small window that you have,
I
for
never-
there. And Chandler's getting there. I mean,
Never
he's in
thought about
shape.
that.
He's a good, but he's had a lot of tough fights in what do you call it as well? What he was fighting before? What's it called?
Bellator.
And Bellator. So he's had a lot of tough fights and
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of but it's not like he's still at that level just because he trains so much and he's a different. I think he's going to close the distance. I don't think he's going to. I don't know why these
And then
guys.
a little bit of insider knowledge here.
Go for it.
The UK teams have phenomenal strength and conditioning and nutrition, and they're a little bit ahead of us here in the States because of our politics and our economics are a little bit ass backwards, especially with the university system.
Yeah.
here. So they actually have better S&C coaches and better nutritionists than we do here. So that's something that, I mean, Patty has a problem. No, he does. Like
he does. He gets
blows
up,
up,
dude.
and then he,
Yeah, he was huge.
You can't keep
And he-
doing that.
Yeah.
no, that'll kill you quickly.
Yeah.
Well,
But he's doing better with it
I'm sold.
because of the professionals.
Yeah, I'm sold. And I know he ain't eating pizza again, especially going up against somebody like Michael Chandler. He's going to be ready. So running up against the clock. I know, Mike, you want to get your
Sorry.
pro wrestling in real quick. So real quick for the people that are checking us out, we're here. We're at Podcast Place here in Long Beach. Got my man Rage Ing, not NG, Rage Ing, and Michael Parks. Gonna talk some pro wrestling because Mike and I went back and forth yesterday. We did a whole live broadcast from Metroflex yesterday. It was only supposed to be an hour, and it turned into two and a half hours.
Nice.
And of course, we got a Solomon over here. I mean, did the man redeem himself or what? He came with that good knowledge about the marketing and totally took the beating away from him. So he did really well.
You saved yourself.
Hey, man, I'm
'Cause
impressed. I'm impressed.
I swear, Solomon, he was going to have you. You were going to be a crash test dummy.
You should see the stuff that Mike's gone through. He's gone through quite a bit of stuff that
he'll put everybody else through it that he won't do.
Okay, go ahead. I know you. Now I'm interested. I don't know if you have the clip or not of what happened to Buddy Murphy or Buddy. What's his name? What is it? Buddy McGirt. What does he wrestle as now?
I know him as Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy.
You have that. You have that clip, Solomon.
I do. Here we go.
Look at this ankle.
Oh, and then he walks on it.
Yeah, I'm surprised he wrestled the whole match like that.
Now, this is AEW, and this was them over in Australia, okay? And Tony Khan didn't take an AEW ring over there. They usually wrestle in a 20 by 20, yeah?
Yeah, then that was a 16 by 16 ring.
Ooh.
And Buddy Murphy had things to say about the ring.
Yeah.
And, number one, the size, but just wasn't really safe.
Yeah.
So, speaking with Favi last night, I'm like, okay, as the owner, Tony Khan, you have your ring crew. You know you're not taking the ring over there. You know you're going to be using a ring from somebody over there. You should go down and watch them put the ring up to make sure that your guys that are used to wrestling in a 20 by 20 ring, make sure everything is everything.
Yeah. And
have one of your guys come down and walk the ring for you and let you know, hey, this is,
it's a loose board or something down there.
I'm try to keep everybody from over here. You know what I mean? Or fix it.
But doesn't he have a crew? I mean, especially with the money that they have. Blake Troop wrestles for NWA.
Right.
And I'm sure they have a crew that makes sure that everything is top notch and they have somebody specifically geared towards doing that.
Understandable. But you're paying these guys.
Right.
Right? You're paying them to go over to Australia to perform. You're not using your ring. You're cutting 4 feet off.
Which I prefer.
Yeah, you do like 16
I do.
by 16.
That's
the only reason why you like 16 by 16.
I've been in a 22 by 22 ring, and it felt like a marathon running those ropes. And I was blown up.
Why you want a smaller ring?
Dude, I was blown up so a 16 by 60 is much better for me. But isn't it up to the wrestler to well?
Yeah, yes. Well, that's
Michael Parks as the owner of PWA. You've had to put up many a ring. Do you check it when you?
Yeah, I do watch.
Okay,
I do watch. But even as an MMA fighter, go before the show. Go walk the cage.
If you have that opportunity,
right?
But you don't always. And given what we just saw on that video, it didn't look like they had that opportunity. But
I guarantee you, for a big show like that, everybody had to be there between 11 o'clock in the morning.
Your call.
Look at that. That just
I mean,
that was ugly.
His the outside ball of his ankle touched.
Yeah.
I'm amazed he was able to go through the match.
That's
like that. And that's
job.
And that's not the jobber. That's a main.
That's his job.
He's a main attraction for AEW, and so I think he took a little bit of time off, right?
Yeah, but he shouldn't have had to.
Mike, you got about 10 minutes left.
Do you know how bad that injury?
Yeah, he took some time off. I think he took a couple of weeks off.
You have to have surgery,
a high ankle sprain.
It's a very high. Luckily, the wrestlers' boots are
okay.
Heavy leather,
but still
heavy. But just the fact that just the fact that you saw that ankle move that way. I did that in work boots and tore the deltoid ligament in my right ankle.
Yeah.
So him coming over the ropes.
Yeah. And putting all that weight. He's a big dude, too.
Yes, he is.
About maybe 225, 230.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Can you show him that clip of that we were talking about earlier?
Solomon, can you pull up? This is cool because it's 1 minute and 11 seconds.
The blooper clip?
Oh my God.
Okay, here we go.
Oh no.
Win this tournament. Drew's gonna fly, Sal.
What the?
Oh,
No, no. This one's not that bad.
oh, that's AJ.
This is AJ. This is
Oh, that's in New Japan too.
yeah. This isn't that bad. It could have been. This one right here. What?
Oh, right into the stairs.
And this one. And finally that one. No, this one is.
In the high rent district, here he goes.
Yeah, give yourself a cross.
Oh my God.
Dude, he's got a voice moving.
But why isn't the ref just calling?
Yeah, stop it.
And he tried to kick out, dude.
Bro, come on.
He tried to kick out. Look,
Yeah.
the crowd is gone.
Yeah.
And they're in shock.
Yeah.
Why wasn't the owner on his way to the ring? Why didn't ref just, I don't care about you lifting your arm. Why would you let that? That's some of the stuff that goes on in independent wrestling.
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
makes
see,
me-
that's because you got all these young kids that are trying to make it to WWE. I likened it to like the NBA. There's a very, very select few that are going to make it that far.
Okay.
But they're willing to risk permanent paralysis to try to get in there or whatever. But Mike and I, we've been in the business for a long time, and there's a way, especially on the independent circuit, where you can work the crowd, and they want to come back and see you. I mean, possibly breaking your neck is not one of them. I mean, if you're getting a tryout for AEW or WWE, then you might as well. And second of all, you have to trust the person that you're going against.
Yeah.
That last clip, there was nobody even there. The one before
dude,
there was nobody even there.
Solomon,
Yes. Sir.
I saw and heard your reaction to
Oh,
this.
yeah. You saw me flinch.
Yeah.
You
I
flinched.
thought I was about to hit a wrong button or
I
something.
watched that.
looked
I watched
bad.
that 4 times, and I still flinch.
Yeah.
Why would you allow somebody? What was he on the rafters?
That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
We're gonna do this spot where you're gonna, and
Solomon, I know you're new to well, not new, but with us or whatever. Anyways, but I was doing a show in at the Olympic for XPW, and it was Vic Grimes and
New Jack.
and New Jack, and we were doing a thing where we were going to do a run in. Yeah, we were going to run in and SoCal Jobbers and all this stuff or whatever. But that match was before ours, and they were on scaffolding. Have you seen, Solomon? Have you seen the what was the Vice channel that had the special on New Jack? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
You got it. It's on YouTube where they show him throw Vic Grimes off the scaffold.
Okay.
Now, mind you,
he was crazy.
Now, mind you, he purposely did that.
Yeah, he goes.
He was mad.
I went to a pawn shop and I bought a taser.
Yes.
He goes, and I tased him up on top of the scaffold, and he said, "Jack, I can't feel my legs. I can't." He said, "You ain't gonna need them," and threw him off
the scaffold.
And what saved him is he went down and he hit that rope.
Hit the rope
that bounced him back in. If
top
he
rope.
wouldn't have hit that rope, he'd have been dead.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there. I was there, and I'm going, something ain't right here or whatever.
Did he catch charges?
No.
No charges, no nothing.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Because
Nothing.
how is that not attempted murder?
Only in XPW.
That was New Jack.
When we're out of here, Solomon, and you got nothing going on or whatever, on YouTube, pull up Vic Grimes versus New Jack on the scaffold.
Yeah.
And when you see it, you think that was something where that you watch that, you're gonna go, what the heck is going on here?
Maybe tomorrow. I think I had enough for today.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It'll keep you up.
Now,
It'll
mind
keep you up.
There's so many different matches in pro wrestling that, guys get injured, but when you see things that can be prevented, i.e.,
yeah, you don't need
wrestlers
it.
jumping off of stuff that you have no business jumping off of.
Yeah, that was wicked.
Either let your wrestling skills or your mic skills get you over. You don't have to do. You're trying to get to the big leagues,
right?
Not trying to get put in the hospital.
Well, let's put it this way.
because you don't have the insurance.
Mike,
Oh, yeah.
And the companies don't have the insurance to pay for you to get well.
Michael Parks is the owner and the proprietor of the Pacific Wrestling Alliance.
And my brother.
We have a meeting before every show. And Mike says, look, I don't want anybody flying out of the ring. I don't want everybody keeps it in the ring. If you don't know how to work a crowd and do a show, you don't belong here.
Look,
Or whatever. If you do, you have to go to Mike for a specific position and then permission. And then Mike would say, well, look, okay, well, you trust him? Is he going to catch you? Where are you going to do it? Don't do it on this side because there's too many people. But these guys, I don't know, they were just going at it.
look, I don't know. This may sound cold, but it's the truth. I'm not having a benefit show for you because you
Right.
did something that you shouldn't have done
Right.
in the ring to get over.
We'll be doing a GoFundMe for your hospital bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're an independent contractor.
Yeah.
And most independent companies don't have the money to cover you
Yeah.
in the hospital.
We
And for you to not even think about yourself enough to put yourself in a position that just might happen.
well, that looks like young kids that are just trying to get there. I mean, that's
So
just
then
ridiculous.
somebody should
And
have
where's the
stepped in.
promoter that's saying, what are you doing?
No.
Yeah. Well, we need to get Joey Chaos in here because he was working with me in XPW and was there that night, so we could talk about. But we're running up against the clock. Real quick, I just want to let everybody know that we appreciate.
Oh man.
You know, we had to get him at the last minute. We scrambled around, and luckily, hey, Blake Troop was like, "Dude, get him in there." I've been 5-1 since I started working with them, whatever. So we appreciate you coming on. Can you give that social media real quick before we get out of here?
Sure. If you want to find me, it's actually right here on the screen. At the Raging on Instagram, and that's probably the best way to find
Dude, is there no end to the awesomeness of Solomon? I mean, I said it, bam, it's just there. And real quick, before we get out of here, Michael Parks and I, this Sunday, March 2nd, we're going to be at Lucha Libre Alliance. I got a big match coming up against Eli Emerson. Yes, I am an old man, but I have been training. This is a young kid that called me out. He said, hey, man, you're a good entertainer, but I don't think you're a very good wrestler. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, so he kind of called me to the carpet. So that's a big match that's coming up. We were at Metroflex 2.5 hours promoting that bad boy. People are coming out to, I don't know if they're coming to see me get killed or what it is, but anyways, I'll be there. Maybe somebody, are you proficient in your CPR skills?
I'll find somebody.
Yeah, so we'll bring the AED machine from work.
Didn't you hear him just say, "I'm not holding the benefit"?
Yeah.
Did you
Luckily it's not
miss
hard.
that whole thing?
But go
Doing
ahead,
things
Mike.
that you shouldn't be doing, old man. Like,
Exactly.
We got one more minute. Get us out of here.
And we're also still we're about a month and a half away from WrestleCon.
WrestleCon, Las Vegas.
have a
We got
booth.
2 booths. We'll be live.
Yeah, April 17th through the 20th. They haven't given us our booth number yet, but we got a booth. We'll be at WrestleCon, WrestleMania weekend.
And we have a lot of people that are starting to confirm for our booth at WrestleCon, so we'll put that on social media as everybody starts confirming for that.
And we'll get the link out for you guys for our YouTube channel so you guys can go and look at this episode, our first episode.
Yeah.
Solomon, before we get out of here, we really want to thank you for providing this awesome studio
Yeah, a vehicle
for us.
that we can actually get our stuff out there.
Trust me,
Yeah,
this was the
happy to
first
do it.
gig. We got some more stuff in store for you.
Nice.
Thanks, Al. We'll see everybody real soon.
Yes.